Welcome back, Southern Hangers. We've got a good episode here for you today. We're very excited about this one. For those of you joining us, this is Sherman Brown. I'm joined by Neil Wilding, my partner in crime here today. We're going to be short. Brian Redmond and Craig Cotton. We are four guys who got to know each other through in college. And started off with baseball trips of kind of reuniting, getting back together, and started this podcast, Southern Hang Pods. However you found us, we're glad you found us, and excited to get going. We have got a very special person joining us today, and we met this person when we were at Bourbon and Beyond. And if you listen to those episodes, we had a couple episodes where we had short interviews, and this guest, Miss Mabilene, is joining us for a full episode this time. We have had a conversation with her. We talked about her, what I'm going to say is her roots. If she was running for president, she'd be able to pull Tennessee, Texas, New York, California. She gets to claim all those states. She also is a foodie, and we know that. We've got a little bit of a conversation in there about Louisville. And her food and places that she was going. And we talked a little bit about that. Before we get into any of that, Miss Mabilene, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm happy I get to participate this time. I know I wasn't down there for the festival, so this time I get to play along. It's an honor to meet you.
Yeah, it was fun. That festival was fun.
It's a good one. I mean, it's a good mix. There's a lot of different things going on, not just the music, but all the other stages and podcast things, all kinds of different stuff going on. Not just us, but other podcasts. That was a really fun one, especially this time around. One thing we didn't talk about when we were there, you got to see different bands. Were there any bands that you saw that were one that may be new to you that you didn't know and you got exposed to that you really enjoyed?
I'm laughing because I had never seen Fish, and I haven't really heard Fish. So I was exposed to Fish.
Nice.
How about it?
It's just hysterical.
They're just some little band, little band.
Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
There might be.
But yeah, no, it was fun because they headlined the day I played, and so that was the day, I stayed to the bitter end, and I had so much fun kind of like taking in that scene, which obviously I'd heard about, but I'd never participated in or witnessed, and that was a good time. It was fun.
And they played two sets, which means they essentially played two songs.
That's right.
Exactly.
That works.
I don't even know if it was two songs. I mean, they may have just taken a break, and there could have been, yeah.
They jam out. That is the definition of a jam band, but absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny. I'd look over to my left on my basement wall, and I have a picture of the newspaper from the Bonnaroo that I went to. And I'm not a Fish head either, but they were there, and I got a picture of them on my wall. So I don't know.
Nice. There was someone backstage who, I can't remember, it was one of the state reps, I think, who had all his glow sticks. And I was like, have you seen Fish before? He goes, only 72 times. I was like, oh my God.
Of course.
Okay. The fact that I know who you're talking about right now was not a state rep. That is our U.S. Congressman, Morgan McGarvey.
That was our U.S. Congressman? Yeah.
That is Louisville's congressman.
He was like,
yes.
I've seen a million. I was like, what?
He's a friend of ours. He listens to the show, so he'll be listening to this.
Well, he's been called out. His enthusiasm was one of the most exciting parts of my day. I was like, I was excited because of how excited he was. I was like, let's do this.
That's awesome.
That is just who he is as a person. That is all natural. There is every part
I would
of
like
that
to
is Morgan.
apologize if it's not 72 times, because it could be more than 72. So if I'm downplaying the fandom, I apologize in advance. I don't want to make it seem like he's been to fewer shows than he's been to. So
he is actually a musician as well. He plays guitar, and he he can sing. He doesn't think he can, but he can actually hold a note and plays around town a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
That's funny.
Oh, that's fun.
That is awesome that that's who it was. That you ran into. Only 60,000 people there, and the one person that you're mentioning we know.
Oh, that's funny.
It's about as Louisville as it gets.
It is very Louisville. Yeah.
Well, talk to us a little bit here. We know that you have an album out. It's been out for a couple months, Stormborn.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about your project, the process, wherever you want to take it, and kind of where it is now, as far as you've now been out performing and folks are getting to hear the music. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going well. It's really a different landscape these days than it was when I first started releasing records. So how I release things and sort of what I expect has shifted, and I've kind of stepped away from sort of like the typical, like, this is the release strategy and how you do things, because it just isn't lining up that way anymore. So I've been giving myself a lot more time and space with everything. I heard, or I think it was an interview, I was listening to Jewel talk about, how after she released that first big record of hers, like, it took over a year for her to get any traction. And that was like opening for Bob Dylan and she couldn't get traction, and for the past, decade, it's been this, like, you have 3 months to release a record, you're gonna do a single and a single and a single, and you're gonna do these tour dates, and then if a thing happens, you're screwed, and so I've been like sitting with, why are we putting all that pressure on ourselves? I just want to see where this music takes me, because that approach has worked better in the past. And that was pretty much how I made the record too. It was coming out of COVID, and I had to delay the release of my album, The Other Side, because I was going to release it in 2020, and then just didn't have it in me to do during lockdown. And that was a record I'd made very traditionally in the studio. I took, 3 weeks, hired a bunch of musicians. We did it all really fast. And this time I took 2.5 years, and I made it with one other person for the most part, my producer, Johnny Hansen. And, we would call in friends to send us parts here and there, but, we played it all and sang it all ourselves. He played most of it. I hired this really amazing drummer out of LA for a couple of songs, but, it just was a really different process. And there was something so right in my soul about having time that it really made me question a lot of the other things I've been told about how I'm supposed to do things. And I'm like, no, I think I'll take time. Like, I think I'll, make a video for this song 3 months after the album comes out. And then maybe a few months later, I'll make another video. And, the thing that's challenging about that is that I already want to be back in the studio. I've been writing. I have other ideas. That's the part that's hard, is not moving on creatively to the next thing. But in terms of like letting this album have a life, I'm just really stepping back a lot more than I'm used to stepping back, and sort of seeing what comes of it.
Is that, I know streaming has changed the game quite a bit. And so is that kind of what you're getting at a little bit? Is the pressure to try and play the algorithm game and stuff like that?
A little bit, I think that in early streaming days, I did a little bit better. Like these days, unless you're on a label or, quite frankly, paying bots to up things so the algorithm picks it up and puts it in these playlists, like, your numbers are going to be really, really low. And so I've had to separate myself from thinking that matters, because I know I've heard tons of things that aren't my cup of tea that have millions and millions and millions of streams. And they're just not my cup of tea, So the place it gets kind of sticky is when you'd go to book a gig and someone's like, oh, well, you don't have a lot of streams on Spotify and you don't have a lot of monthly listeners. And you have to be like, yeah, but I can still get a lot of people out to a show in Nashville. Like, it doesn't necessarily correlate. A lot of people think that you have these huge numbers, you can headline a tour, and you can't. So it's a really odd game to be playing right now. You know, because I've been able to get some songs licensed for television, and like that may not correlate to streams either, but those are actual people hearing the music and the music serving a purpose in a scene. You know what I mean? Like actually helping
Absolutely.
uplift another piece of art. And I'm like, well, that's meaningful to me. If I had a lot of bots spitting my song, like my ego might like it for a minute, you know, but
it's so funny you mentioned that because I'm certainly not a musician, but I'm a huge fan. But since we've been doing this podcast and, you know, being able to interview artists like yourselves, my algorithm thinks that I am a musician, and I get those ads now for the bots. They're like, we can promote your song and all of this. And it's very depressing, actually. It's like, come on, just let the good music live.
Yeah. Well, and the amount of money you pay for that. And like some of them are real playlists. Like they do have some people, but you're just like, well, if I'm paying hundreds of dollars to get people to listen to it in the background and I'm making a penny, like it doesn't, like, why? Why? I can't, my brain won't do it. You know, my brain won't do that. Can't compute it. So.
Well, when you're in the creative process, so like even let's just talk even right now. So obviously Stormborn is a full album. You put that out, and you had two more albums before that. Is that right? Am I right?
I had one other album as Mabilene before that.
But full album.
Full album.
Okay, go ahead. Full album
is so I have two full albums as Mabilene. The first was The Other Side, and then Stormborn's the new one. Previous to that, I was in a band for a while called The Battlefield, and we had an album and 3 EPs. And then before that, I released a record as Jenny Weaver, which is my born name. And that was way back in 2012. So it's been kind of like a gradual process of getting to Mabilene.
So as you're thinking right now, you said you've even got ideas and thoughts of this now. Are you already thinking, I mean, is it 100% album? Is it or EP? Is it something like that? Or are you right now with streaming, it seems that some people are like, I'm just going to put this single out. I'm going to get this thing and just put it out and just put that into the world. I can see your face right now.
Like, it's so hard for me. Like I released a Christmas single last year because that makes sense. I'm like, it's a Christmas song. You know, I'm not gonna do a whole Christmas album. Here's a Christmas single. And if I had a song that I have a song called Golden Sky that I released as a single because I was playing the inaugural Golden Sky Music Festival, and the creative team was like, maybe you should do this thing and have a song, because I was supposed to be like the first artist on the first stage playing the inaugural Golden Sky. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll write a pop country song for that. And so I did that. That made sense to me. It had a purpose. But unless there's a song that I'm like, the world needs this right now, I don't know that I would. I conceive in full albums. Even when I'm writing, if I don't know what the album is, like it kind of is all coming together. And there's even a song I've been working on that yesterday I was like, wait, is this a musical? Like, I was like, is this the musical I've always wanted to write? Like, maybe. And so like you know, so it's coming together in my brain in a way that is a bigger project than just one song, almost always. So
gotcha.
Plus, like, just in terms of being realistic, like, if you're paying musicians to be in a room, like, you're paying musicians to be in a room. Like, it's
right.
You know, my friends aren't cheap. You know, but it's just, you know, you want to get not just your money's worth, but you want to like really take advantage of the studio time and all of those things.
Well, no, good on you. Yeah. Good on you. I mean, I think we're all, everybody that all the four of us, there's only two here with us tonight, but the four of us are all about albums. But I don't think other than Neil discovering Colt Winter Lepley from one song that was out on Spotify, and that's a whole other conversation for another day. It's one of my favorite stories. But anyway, that, you know, we love the full album. Yeah. I mean, that's thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned
and our attention spans too. You know, I just feel like the attention span of an album, I like listening to them. Like I want to go on a journey.
Well, and listening to it in full, I'm sure you were very particular about the way that you ordered the songs as you put them on the album. And, so many times people are just hitting shuffle on music and letting it go. But consuming a piece of art all in one is it's the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Sequencing is such an art. Like it's such a, I don't remember when I told this story sometime recently, but back when I lived in New York, I had some friends who worked for The Rock, like Jay-Z's The Rock, not The Rock, the actor. But
did you just throw that up too?
I did.
You did. I saw that. I get to actually talk hip hop for a second. I don't ever get to talk hip hop on here. Yeah. This is great.
Well, it's just so funny because like they worked in this world and like, I was not the super knowledgeable in hip hop, but this one day they put on an Eminem album and suddenly like I just remember they all like turned around and looked at me because I knew every word and they were like, who are you? And I can't remember what the name of the Eminem album that was about to come out was, but they had an advanced copy and they gave me one and I was obsessed and it was so perfectly sequenced. And when the album came out, the label actually switched the sequencing just to make it more radio friendly in the beginning. And like, I can't listen to it. Like I cannot, they ruined it. Like it is ruined to me just because I'd gotten so attached to like this really, I think probably like the artist's choice, the artist and the producer's choice versus, so.
You just have to, we'll just have to change. You have to create a playlist and just change the order for yourself.
That's right.
Well, back then there were no playlists. Like, you couldn't do it. This was like, I think this was like probably a year prior to iPods.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. But no, I hear you. I think, and the sequencing is important. Speaking of sequencing and Stormborn specifically, the last song on your album, In Between. Well, I'm going to say this: the last, as I have it, the last song. I'm hoping that I have it in the right order now. Is In Between. In Between.
That's the second song on the album. In Between.
That is, so I've got the order that I've got.
You got the advanced copy.
No, the order that I've got them in on my thing. I have in the two songs I wanted to check with you on, check in with you. Two songs that have really stuck with me is Lullaby for Margot and In Between. Those are two songs I wanted to check with you on. I'm wrong on the order, but it was last on my list. But now that I know that it's second, that makes me even. Because it's always like the feels like the first three are the ones that kind of grab you. It feels like that to me on an album. It's like that's the all right. This is who this artist is, and you're kind of getting in. And as you said, you're kind of going on a ride. And you went a little journey. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And the question was going to be is why is that the last song? Because I did not feel that it was appropriate. I was really going to ask you, like, why was that, but not ask it that way.
The answer is you hit shuffle.
Yeah. Apparently.
Optus will send you, now that you're a new vinyl collector, we'll send you a vinyl record of it. You can listen to it as it's meant to be sequenced. Awesome. In Between's the second song on the record.
Talk to me about that. Where is that? Where did that come from? I don't ask any more questions. Just
yeah. So I have a friend, an amazing artist named Phoebe Hunt, and I met her at a music festival that we were both playing back in, I want to say 2016. And she was just like the brightest light. She's this incredible fiddle player, and she just sat in with my band. She just like is one of those musicians who was just like, can I play with y'all? Just had never heard us, just rocking out with the band. And when I moved to Nashville in when was that? I finally landed in like 2017, 2018. I went to a songwriter round and she was on stage and I was like, Phoebe, and we hadn't seen each other. And it turned out we'd moved to Nashville the same week. And so I ended up not long after that at her house, and we were going to, for a totally different purpose, but she was like, you want to just try to write a song together? And I was like, sure. And she was like, what do you want to write about? And I was like, well, a friend of mine and I have been talking about liminal space, because I am in a place where my old band is falling apart and I haven't quite yet launched this new thing I'm doing. And I just really feel I'm in this in-between space. And she was like, my band is falling apart. and I don't know what's going on, and I'm in this in between. So we were just in liminal space. So we had this whole conversation about like the places you find yourself in liminal space, and we ended up talking a lot about like generations of women and like, you know, daughters and mothers and sort of being in between generational things, whether it's generational healing or generational trauma. And that sort of song poured out of us so quickly, and it was the first song we wrote together. And yeah, I loved writing with her. So
well, it's a beautiful song. I mean,
thank you.
Listening to it, just, you know, you feel all of that. And as you're talking about being in that space, trying to figure out where you are and where you're going. And I mean, you can feel all of that in the song, not just in the lyrics, but in the music as well. I think it's just a brilliant song.
Thank you. Yeah, I
absolutely.
really wanted that like vintage sound in it too. You know, that so it could almost sound like, I wanted to sound modern, but it could also be coming to you from the past.
It has that. I can feel that. I can definitely get that.
Yeah.
So when you're in a song like that, when you're in a collaboration, I wanted to jump in a lullaby for Margot, but when you're collaborating, you're talking about with Phoebe, is that you had been in a band before, so I know you had collaborated. You're already comfortable, I would assume, doing that. But now that you're doing kind of your own, it's your project. Do you still feel that way, as though like, okay, I'm going to open up and still allow others in, or is it I want to do this is mine, or is it a little bit of both?
It's both. I mean, I love both. Like for me, if I just sit down to write every day, I can get frustrated very quickly if I don't have an idea that I'm already excited about or have some sort of inspiration coming through me. Like, because I'll be walking and I'll suddenly start hearing songs. So if something like that is happening, sitting down and writing by myself is really fulfilling. If that isn't happening, I can get distracted, bored, judgmental very quickly of myself. So writing with other people is wonderful because it just opens up all this possibility that you may not have gotten to yourself. And I would actually like to explore more co-writing. When I was in my band, I had never written with anybody else before. So coming into that band, it was actually really amazing for me because I got to consistently write with the same people for a few years. And there were, you know, ways in which that was absolutely amazing. And then, you know, bands can be really challenging, and there were personalities that made it very hard. So I've learned for myself, especially from that experience, that if I'm writing with like yes and people, like the rules of improv, it's my favorite thing on the planet. If I'm writing with someone who, you know, has a tendency to need to control, even if they don't know it, like there are some artists who should write by themselves because they have an idea in their head that's so specific that they can't get anybody else into it with them. And that's the wall I've run into before where I'm like, I don't want to write with you anymore. But everybody else, it's just been really wonderful because it's just this back and forth. And especially for getting like in ruts or in the same sound, it can just break things wide open in a way that I find incredibly inspiring.
So the writing process for you, is it start with lyrics, with a melody, like how, or is it just whatever comes and you go from it? How's that work?
For me, it's usually lyrics and melody together. Sometimes it'll be just lyrics. Like I've had experiences of just kind of like grabbing my iPhone and like almost like writing poetry, just like writing a bunch of stuff. And then, but usually when I start rereading it, like I hear the melody beneath it very often. And then I have to go figure out how to play it on the guitar. And then if it's something that's more complicated than my guitar skills, then I'm like, let's change the melody a little bit, you know? Or let's find somebody else who can. And that's the other thing. Like if you write with someone, like writing with Johnny on the record, we wrote The Mirage together. That was really fun because like I can't play that sort of jazzy
Uh,
magic. Like, it's just not, I'm not that kind of a player. I'm like a 3 chords in the truth girl. Maybe I throw in a 4th chord, but having somebody who has that like ability, like I was like, I want to write a jazz standard, I want to write like a torch song. And I got to because I was with somebody who had that level of musicianship. So that's another way that writing with someone else can be really amazing because they can bring their talent into it, and that expands what you're capable of doing.
awesome.
Well, that's really cool. Like just to be open to that as an artist, to realize that it's going to make your art better as well. I mean, I think
Oh yeah.
that's a pretty cool. But you still have the option, as you said, that if you want to just do 3 chords in the truth,
Mm-hmm.
roll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's which clearly you can.
Yeah.
So Lullaby for Margot.
Mm-hmm.
To me, listening to this song and kind of getting in, this was one of the first songs when after we met, that I went back and listened to and found. I listened to several. We're going to talk about Sycamore Tree here in a minute as well. But Lullaby for Margot. First of all, where did that start from? What's the genesis of the idea for the song? Where did that originate?
Yeah. Well, Lullaby for Margot is it's my one and only like actually about COVID songs.
Mm.
Right when the shutdown started happening, I remember there's the artist Margot Price, and I just remember she was one of the first big artists that I saw announce canceling a big tour. And was canceling South by Southwest, I remember. And I was like, oh gosh, are they not going to do South by Southwest? Like, this was when things were sort of like gearing up to be like, is this a serious thing? Like, right before John Prine died, which was when I was like, will not be coming out of my house for years, maybe. Like, that was when I was like, you'll see me in years. Like, but she was releasing a huge record and reading the way she was posting about it, like, even though I haven't achieved that level of like fame and success, I could still feel so deeply like what it meant to her to have to cancel all of that. And she ended up doing her album release show at this place here called the 5 Spot, and it was for no one. It was online. And it's just, there's this picture she posted, and it's her alone, like on her knees singing. And I just saw that photo, and the song just poured out of me. So it was Lullaby for Margot was like a song to Margot Price.
Wow.
Basically.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, it was just this like, yeah.
So what was it like?
I mean, that was the genesis of it,
That's really interesting. You, as an artist that performs, what was it like the first time after being out for so long? Like, I know that like Frank Turner had a song about like the anticipation of getting to play live after COVID. What was that like? Finally coming out, getting to play a show for people?
I mean, it for me, it was really layered because before COVID, I'd only played like, I think 2 shows as Mabilene. I was grieving the end of a band. So like, I think my band played our last show. I can't remember when it was, but it had been a while. And so it was like a like doubly huge because I was gearing up to do this Mabilene project again. Like, I'd revved myself up, made a record, and then COVID had happened. So I was like gearing that up again and hadn't played in so long. I had only done online shows, like Zoom shows during COVID. So it's interesting because I feel so much joy when I play on stage. Like, I just felt so grateful to like get to do it. Like, because my first few shows were just me and a guitar, which is not even necessarily my favorite way to play, but it is how I play most of the time just because of the economics of it. But it was like a remembrance of like, oh gosh, I do love this. I love this so much. And then the first band show I got to do was actually Golden Sky, which was like a huge festival. And that was my first time playing with a band since COVID. And I mean, I was just like, what is happening? You would have thought I'd never done it before. I was like, I remember like going to that rehearsal because I hired them out of LA and I flew there and rehearsed, and then we went up and did that show. And I just remember being in rehearsal being like, oh my God, like they know my songs. This is so cool. It sounds like the record. Like you would have thought I had never done it before. It had just been so long. COVID was so isolating, and I was so used to just me by myself with a guitar that like getting to have the collaboration of it was probably what was biggest for me coming out of COVID.
Well, and you had a bunch of new material too, right? Like, and you have a bunch of new material to play too, right? You had the new album. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you said that playing guitar is not your favorite way to play. What would be your favorite if you take the economics out of it? What would you like? How would you like it?
Oh, I would travel with a full band all the time.
Gotcha.
I'd have so many people. Like there were 4 of us for Bourbon and Beyond. Like that's a good number. I would have thrown in like a pedal steel or a fiddle, like one other fun element. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd tour the band all the time.
Phoebe couldn't come in for Bourbon and Beyond.
Phoebe, I did invite Phoebe at one point. What was she doing? She's a big musical family. She travels a lot. She's a newer mom. So her beautiful son is going to be a year old next week. Her husband is like one of the best mandolin players in the world. And he's out with like Sam Grishman. Oh my God, I'm saying it wrong. Sam Grishman Project, okay. And was out with Molly Tuttle for years. So like they're in demand. I couldn't get her.
Gotcha.
But she would have come if she could have. Yeah.
Well, clearly you had her for a little while there, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have Sycamore Tree, and I want to let you. We'll do a little plug here. You'll be re-releasing that. Coming out. Talk to us a little bit about that for Halloween.
Yeah. So I have a friend, Ethan Carlson. He's an amazing producer, sound engineer, and writer. And he produced my very first record back in 2012. And he does really cool remixes. For my old band, he'd done some cool remixes. And so last year after Hurricane Helene, I wanted a quick way to raise some money. And so I had him remix Sycamore Tree because I was like, this song is like so dark and fun. And I just feel like it could go a little darker, a little further. Like when we were recording it, Johnny kept wanting to take it like fully like Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And I was like, pull it back. It has to fit on the record, but I knew it could go there. And so I invited Ethan to do it. And Johnny was like, I feel like you could do spoken word on it. Like, I feel like there's room in this for like some dark, would you want to? And I was like, I'll consider it. And the second I considered it, it was one of those things where it's like, I think I had to pull over on the side of the road because it just like came to me so fast. I grabbed my phone and I just like wrote the spoken word part. And I was like, oh, I guess that's it. And then, I mean, I kid you not, recorded it so fast, sent it to Ethan. And so it's like it has a darker, spookier vibe, and the spoken word pulls it a little more into like Native American storytelling. So I thought between Thanksgiving and Halloween was kind of a perfect time to release that version. So
awesome.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Awesome. Have you done spoken word before?
Not a ton. There's a song. Did we release it? I think we released it called Mad that my old band, The Battlefield, released. And it's a song I wrote, and I was singing it, and one of the guys in my band was like, what if you don't sing it? What if you just speak it? And I was like, okay. And I ended up really liking that. So I've done things like that before, but I never did like poetry slams or things like that. But I grew up doing a lot of theater, so being theatrical and dramatic, in case you can't tell, comes fairly naturally to me.
I heard you could spin some bars like Eminem, so, it just kind of flows, right?
Well, I don't really perform it, but I will say there was a time, this is forever ago, when that like early Eminem, when like Eminem and Dido had that song, early. where the Dido sample happened, and that was my go-to karaoke. Like I would find somebody in the bar to do the Eminem part. I would like come in and sing the Dido part. So
Did you get somebody to write on pencil really loud by the microphone? The writing.
Exactly. Dear Slim.
Dear Slim.
Oh,
so funny.
Well, where can folks find the remix?
It'll
Where
be on
is that
all
going to
the
be?
streamers.
awesome.
All
Yeah, it'll be on
streamers.
all
Great.
the streamers.
So-
The iTunes, the Spotify.
Awesome.
Yeah,
This is
all the
dropping.
usual.
This episode's dropping on October 27th, and you said it's going to hit Halloween. So that'll be
Halloween.
this week. So make sure on Halloween
Yeah.
Day you go grab that song and add
Yeah.
it. We'll certainly add it to our Southern Hang playlist on Apple Music and Spotify.
Awesome.
See if you can't get a little Southern Hang bump.
We'll take
Yeah, that bump. That's awesome.
Well,
I love
we did talk theater last time, and we talked a little food when we were at Bourbon and Beyond.
Mm.
Bring me back on the food side, because now that I've got Neil here too, and we can talk a little mish. I'm actually going there coming up. It is, yeah,
Rude.
I know.
Well, guess what? I
Um,
went to Ralph and Daughters 2 weeks ago. So
How was it? How was it?
it was delicious. It was really
It's-
good. It was really
So
good. It was really
Rolf and
good.
Daughters is like my favorite place in Nashville. I'm actually going to Nashville. My wife and I are going down to see New Constellations November 15th in Nashville.
Cool. Where are they playing?
Cannery Hall. I don't know anything.
Cool.
I don't know Cannery Hall, so it'll be new for me. It'll be a new
That'll be
experience.
fun. That'll
Good
be
spot.
fun.
That's a good
Yeah.
spot.
It was there before, and it was kind of one of the old school supports artists spaces. I don't really know what's going on now. I have been to a show, but it got bought and corporatized and
Okay.
then reopened.
Gotcha.
But I think the main difference I noticed when I went was that instead of costing like $5, drinks cost like $30.
Well, that's your town you live in.
That is your town.
I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, but the sound was great.
Oh, that's good. That is good. All right.
Well, I noticed
there's
I heard you're playing. Did I see you're playing the Bluebird Cafe next year?
Yes, I'll be back at the Bluebird. I want to say it's March 8th.
So back
do their
there, so
songwriters night.
you played often. That's a spot I've not been to because I can never get in because I can never plan ahead.
Oh yeah, it is. Getting a ticket there is.
Who do we have to talk to get on the list for March 8th? Who do we have to talk? What day of the week is that? How do we do
It's
this?
a Sunday. It's a Sunday.
We can
My
do this,
fifth
Neil.
time
Let's
doing
go.
this
All
night.
right.
It's crazy. So I have gotten I'll go on when tickets go, and I'll try to get them because they give me two comps, and if you bring a musician with you,
One,
that counts
two.
as a comp.
Yeah.
You get one ticket.
Oh.
So
Oh.
the first time I did it, I had all these friends on there, and I think we ended up getting 8 tickets or something. But people, it's the Bluebird. It's amazing. So I mean, I've got some strategies for getting tickets, but if tickets go on sale at 8, by 8:01 they're gone. You have to. It's a small venue. Everybody loves it. It really is magical. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, mark your calendars then, March 8th. Neil, you and I, and
Okay.
since Redmond and Cotton aren't on here, we'll have them.
Yeah.
We'll try to get everybody
They're
down there
lower
on
on
that
the list.
Sunday.
Okay.
No, I'll get them tickets. I can get them and try to get them down there.
And we'll
It'll be
have to
great.
mark our ticket or calendars for 3 months in advance when they go on sale.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Oh, when I booked there, they booked me 5 to 6 months out. It's yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I've not been to the Bluebird, so it's on my list. And what a
Yeah.
great way to go is to go and see you. It'll be
Yeah.
awesome.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Well, we have. You were talking about some of your folks that you have played with and around. We have a playlist. Neil mentioned that we'll be adding a song from yours on there. We can add Sycamore Tree.
Awesome.
And folks, if you're for our listeners, it's, the Apple and Spotify playlist. But Mabilene, why don't you give us a song from somebody that you like that we should add to the playlist? It can't be of your own. So just who do you have off the top of your head there, who do you got? Who would you like to plug that we can maybe put on the playlist?
Yeah, I'd love to plug my friend Lauren Balthrop. She released an album called Things Will Be Different in 2022. And I tell her this all the time. I think she thinks I'm just being her friend, but I really mean it was my favorite album of 2022. And there's a song on it called Get Lost that gives me these just like ephemeral, like badass female 90s vibes. And it's so fun to sing along to, and I just love it. So I'd say put Get Lost on there.
All right. I'm
Awesome.
finding it now. Looks like the album's called Things Will Be Different, and it's the second track
Mhm.
on that album. We'll make sure to
Yeah.
add it.
It'll be 10th. It'll be 10th on my list when I buy the album. It'll be that song will be 10th. Just to mix me up. Just to mix me up.
Yeah, you're like, oh, the second song? Yeah, that's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Lauren Balfour. No, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, no.
She's actually in Louisville all the time.
Okay.
She plays, like, one of her other jobs is she plays in a Fleetwood Mac tribute band called Back to Mac, and most of the members live in Louisville. So she's there all the time.
I think they were coming in to why am I drawing a blank? Place next to Palace Theater, the
Mercury.
Neil, Mercury Ball, where we just saw Everclear. They were, I think that Back to Mac was coming, or Back to Mac.
Yeah.
I think they were coming in. And I think I saw a thing up on the ads for them. So that's that's awesome
about it.
Yeah, I was like, you got to go to Mish Mish.
That you got to reserve in advance too. They're starting to you got to plan ahead. Sherm, when did you make the reservation for when you're going?
2 months ago.
Wow.
2 months ago, and I actually forgot I had made it. It popped up on my calendar. I was like, yes, it's one of those type things.
Walked on in. I was like,
did
hi.
You?
Oh, I have it. I walk in and I'm like, hi, I know it's probably impossible, but you could really make a dream come true right now because I'd really like to. It works. It's how I got into Rolf and Daughters too.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I can't bat the eyes and do it. It doesn't work. They're not listening to me. They don't listen to me the same way as you. Yeah. It's not the way that works.
You don't ask them to make a dream come true.
That's the part I'm missing.
That's
exactly
learn.
it. I need
We're taking notes. All right, let's get them.
I got it.
Well, no, with the Rolf and Daughters, I was actually Lauren Balthrop's birthday, and we had a reservation next door, and they had accidentally canceled it, and we're there with a party of 5. And we were like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I'm going to go talk to Rolf and Daughters. They were like, you can't get a reservation for a party of 5 at 7:30 the night of. And I was like, I could try.
Did they make a dream? And they made a dream come true?
They did. I was just like, it's my friend's birthday and this horrible thing has happened. She's like, I can see you right now. I was like, great. I think it was just meant to be because, you'd been like, have you been to Rolf and Daughters? And I was like, I have not. And I think the universe just came in to fix that.
What'd you get? What'd you get
I
there?
don't remember. We got everything.
That's why you got to do it.
I remember that my favorite things were these scallops. Oh.
Okay.
And then the chicken was amazing, which I guess they're known for this chicken. It was delightful.
We have never gotten it. Everybody that gets it. And then when I'm there, every time I go, I'm like, I'm getting the chicken because everybody talks about how great it is. And then I get there and I look at the menu and I'm like, I'm going to get something else. Like, I'm going to go over here.
See, this is why it's good to be there with 5 people. Because then you're just like, the menu, please.
Yes.
I'll have the menu.
That is exactly right. Just somebody order for the table. We'll take one of all of these.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe really try it.
That's exactly right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much. This has been awesome. Been a fun time. Yeah. We really appreciate you joining us here. Yeah. This is is there anything else that you want to plug? Any other shows? Anything else that we need to know? I know we're just missing since we're posting. I know you've got Brown's Diner coming up, but you'll have by the time this post, you'll have played it. I was trying to see if I could get down there for it, but I'm not going to be able to. So.
I know that would be so fun. I know it's going to be such a great show. Lauren's playing. I'm plugging her nonstop, and then Chris Eldridge and Kristen Andreasen, who are phenomenal, are playing too. They were all at Rolf and Daughters.
Nice.
I'm like, but hopefully by the time you post this, I'll have another show in the works. I got kind of out of practice of playing locally, other than the Bluebird, post COVID, but I've made a goal for myself to like always have a local show on the books. So like once the Brown's Diner happens, I'll have something else booked as quickly as possible. So
well, I'm already going to be looking at Bluebird. I'm going to be trying to figure out how to get there for that show.
Yeah,
Neil, we're going to put that on our Nashville list.
Let's make it happen. Southern Hang road trip. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Awesome.
I love
it.
Well,
thank you again. Really appreciate you coming on and giving us time.
Yeah. Great to see you again virtually. Great to meet you, Neil.
Awesome.
This is awesome.
This was great. Really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you guys next week.
Peace.